Gege Akutami can be an amazing writer when he wants to be. He can drop one single page. That's all it takes. One single page and it can be a golden nugget of information that will have fans nibbling on it for days until the next chapter. Or he can subvert expectations and just change up the whole game. His style of storytelling is part of what I find so engaging about JJK, due to the fact that his style of storytelling does not baby you in the way some other mangas would treat its reader, though not a fault of the mangakas themselves, but the readers. And for me, at this point, it has to be chapter 143. In volume 17, when it's revealed, it's been revealed through a glimpse of a flashback about Yuji's birth. A flashback we're not sure if it was for the chapter or Yuji's himself. Something we have been asking for ever since the first chapter. Where are Yuji's parents? What was so important that his grandfather wanted to tell him as his last dying words? And then chapter 143 reveals just a little bit of what he might wanted to say. How his mother was not normal. As it's revealed, it was Kenjaku all along, but from our point of view. And it has to make you question on what does this mean? And one thing I can't wrap my head around, though it was only one chapter, it does answer a lot of questions about Yuji himself. As to how could he be related to Choso, a death room painting? Could this be another autistic leap of logic like Toto's dreamscape of his time with Yuji in high school? But one thing I've seen from Kenjaku, though there is not a lot of examples of this, but we can assume his curse technique allows him to jump bodies. And because of that, due to Kenjaku's curse technique, not only can he use the current body's curse technique, he can also use the last body's curse technique, as is revealed in the fight between Choso and Yuki in Kenjaku, where he's holding on to his final trump that he's been holding on for this entire fight. Then it's revealed that it was a curse technique from Kaori, the last body he jumped from before he moved to Geto's body. Anti-gravity, which he reversed to make gravity. And with that logic, we can only assume that the body before Kaori Itadori was Kama. With that connection, it very much makes sense as to how Choso and Yuji can have an actual connection, a biological. Seeing this chapter again, I feel like there was so much more details that we should have dug deeper into. Like the symbolism behind this one chapter, like I feel like there's a lot to uncover in just 2 pages because of so many panels. If you broaden your mind and stretch your logic and make some gymnastic leap of logic, maybe there is some symbolism and truth and clues behind these chapters and panels. Like in the one panel where you see Yuji's father is holding him in front of what looks like to be a mirror or frame, but it's a blank frame. And his profile being a side profile in that frame, it brings me to the picture of the Catholic religion, of the picture of the Holy Mother Mary, who holds Jesus for the first time. And with that leap in logic, it made me think, oh man, Kenjaku is a pervert because he perverts things, but not in the way you might think. It perverts sort of like ideas, things that aren't usually perverted, like perverting the union between a man and woman, perverting death by making himself immortal through jumping through other people's bodies, and then perverting birth itself by making Yuji, as to what reason we can only assume. And for me, it also makes it seem like he perverts religion as one of the common phrases, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But in this case, with Kenjaku, it's the cursed spirit. It has so many layers and probably so many deeper meanings to it in so many ways that has to be explored or has to be explained more in depth. Hopefully in more chapters to come before the series ends. But another reason why I think he perverted birth itself is because we're shown that Yuji's father had high expectations to have a child with Kaori before Kenjaku, but she was unable to bear a child. And in this chapter, we're seeing the grandfather Wakuseki. Oh man, I can't pronounce his name. We've seen the grandfather try to warn him that he had to give up on that woman or he'll die. But it's like, what does he mean? Does he mean in the sorcery way? Was the grandfather a jutsu sorcerer that we don't know of? Or does he mean in a metaphorical way that his mentality is not in the right state of mind to be a proper parent? And then next we see him try to warn that her death as he's cut off by Kenjaku, and it might be a hint that maybe her death was either a few things. Either she died through unnatural causes that might seem natural, sort of like when Bleach lost his mother for the first time in the series, or could it be like a suicide that wasn't actually a suicide? It's like, could the father have sensed these things as if like he has a sixth sense? So it makes me question, how was Yuji birthed? I know we all joke about Kenjaku taking multiple back shots to make Yuji. I think I'm a different opinion. I don't think he took any back shots at all. I think Kenjaku probably self-pregnated himself or gave an immaculate conception. And Jin, Yuji's father, being so distraught with not be able to have kids the first few times with the real Kairi, just accepted it with no questions asked. And that might be another thing he perverted. And Kenjaku being the person who they are makes total sense, and maybe that was the goal he was looking for. If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. But who knows, we'll probably never get any other explanation on this one amazing chapter, because Gege is built different. That this one panel of Jin and this frame, and then this one flower right next to this frame, is almost as if this is another clue to a deeper meaning as to what this can mean. I've seen or tried to look up a few flowers that look closely, and one flower stuck out to me, but for ironic reasons. One flower being that it's Japanese or flower, meaning that it's to ward off her spirit, and that is just hilariously ironic. It could be another perversion, I think, of Kenjaku, which might make Kenjaku on a whole nother level of villainy none has ever seen before. The mindfuckery that has never been done in shonen ever. From these things alone, I think the merger might also be another perversion, though that's for a different topic.